three things you do. Just do these three things. Pay your taxes, mind your business, and keep Will Smith's wife's name out your mouth!
Just to have it on record, just think historical rumors. We've never been Scientologists.
Scientology, do you embrace?
I was introduced through it by Tom, and I'm a student of world religion. I was raised in a Baptist household. I went to a Catholic school, but the ideas of the Bible are 98% the same ideas of Scientology.
It's like a high-pressure environment, but if you can thrive in it, when you come out of there, you can work in this business.
Eddie Murphy has been Hollywood's comedian, actor, and insider for decades. But recently, he's begun to hint at something darker lurking in the career of his fellow star, Will Smith.
I want to let you know that there is a definitive blueprint that you can follow to achieve success, prosperity, longevity, and peace of mind.
From cryptic comments about fame to revealing details at award shows, Eddie seems to know things the world hasn't heard about yet. But why is he revealing them now? Could it be that Eddie knows what it truly took for Will to reach the top? Or that he's seen the side of fame most people try to keep hidden?
It's very simple. There's three things you do. Just do these three things. Pay your taxes, mind your business, and keep Will Smith's wife's name out your mouth!
Eddie Murphy is not one to hold back, and now he's opening up about the real story behind Will Smith's rise to fame. He's hinting at a darker side to Hollywood, and some of his recent comments have people wondering what he's really trying to say about Will's path to the top. What sounds like a joke might actually be revealing something much deeper about Will's career. Eddie's been around long enough to know Hollywood inside and out, and his words are making people wonder if there's more to Will's rise than meets the eye. Will Smith has spent years building a lovable image, but some believe it's all part of a carefully crafted persona. Behind the charm, Will's past has its shadows, and the connections he's made along the way are sparking new questions now that Eddie's shedding light on them. One major rumor that's been floating around for years is about the Smiths and their ties to Scientology, though neither Will nor Jada has ever confirmed being members. Back in 2011, Will mentioned learning about Scientology from Tom Cruise and even talked about similarities with the Bible, but the topic has stayed pretty mysterious.
The ideas of the Bible are 98% the same ideas of Scientology.
This could explain a lot. Scientology's connections to Hollywood's elite have been controversial for years, with some believing it gives certain stars a boost in their careers. Leah Remini, who left Scientology, spoke out in her book about the church and its high-profile members. She said Scientologists are told to keep certain practices secret and revealed the intense discipline she and others went through before leaving.
The thing is that the organization does like to be put in the same sentences as other, real churches.
So why does Scientology attract some of Hollywood's biggest stars? According to Jenna Hill, the niece of Scientology leader David Miscavige and other former members, the church actively targets certain actors and actresses, telling them that joining will help their careers and lives. They use high-profile members like Tom Cruise and John Travolta as examples of success within Scientology, making it look appealing to others in Hollywood. Take Tom Cruise, for instance. After a challenging childhood, he was introduced to Scientology in the late 80s through his then-wife, Mimi Rogers. Cruise has credited Scientology for helping him with dyslexia and soon became one of its biggest celebrity members. Leah Remini even says he got special treatment from the church. The same goes for John Travolta. He started out as an aspiring actor and went to a Scientology meeting where they even did a group chant for him to land a big role. Soon after, he got cast as Vinnie Barbarino in Welcome Back, Kotter, which kicked off his career. Travolta has openly credited Scientology with helping him break into the big leagues.
30 years for me, I've been part, and I've loved every minute of it. My family has done so well with it, and it's a beautiful thing for me, and I've saved lives with it and saved my own life several times.
Will and Jada aren't the only ones rumored to be linked to Scientology. Other stars like Kirstie Alley, Priscilla Presley, and even Patrick Swayze have reportedly been involved with the church. But many Hollywood insiders believe some celebrities stay connected to Scientology because they fear that leaving could lead to private details being leaked to the press. Will Smith has spent nearly 4 decades crafting a friendly image that people can't resist, and he's done it all to stay at the top. In a recent interview, he shared his strategy of creating a joyful image, knowing that how he presents himself can shape how people respond to him. Will is a master at managing his public image, which allows him to lay low and come back in the spotlight when he wants. Just look at his recent surprise appearance at Coachella, where he joined J Balvin to perform the Men in Black theme song. Fans went crazy, seeing him back in character as Agent J. His comeback has been carefully timed with the release of Bad Boys, Ride or Die, where he's returning as Mike Lowrey, one of his most iconic characters. From doing a performance on a double-decker bus at the premiere to sitting down with Sean Evans on Hot Ones, Will's reemergence is more than just a coincidence.
It's been a long time coming, 25 years since the first movie.
It seems like everything is part of a bigger plan, raising questions about whether this was always the way Will wanted to make his big comeback. And if Eddie Murphy's hints are anything to go by, there could be a lot more beneath the surface of Will Smith's Hollywood journey. But Eddie Murphy was not the only person to call out Will Smith, especially for the Oscars slap. Jim Carrey also mocked Will Smith's behavior that night and even hinted that Hollywood had lost its moral compass, and word on the street is Will didn't appreciate being thrown under the bus like that. The tension only escalated after this public criticism. Some say Will felt betrayed, especially since he believed they were on good terms before.
I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless, en masse.
And here's where things get even spicier. There's a rumor floating around that Jim Carrey once auditioned for a role Will wanted, and guess what? Carrey nailed it. This was back in the 90s, when both were climbing the Hollywood ladder, and that rejection reportedly left Will fuming. Some insiders suggest that Will has been low-key resentful ever since, always seeing Jim as a rival who somehow manages to steal the spotlight without even trying.
And depression is your body saying, I don't want to be this character anymore. I don't want to hold up this avatar that you've created.
And now Eddie hinted that what really makes Will nervous isn't just Jim's talent, it's how fearless he is. Carrey says and does things that most celebrities wouldn't dare, and that kind of unpredictability is a nightmare for someone like Will, who carefully curates his image. Word is, Will believes that if Jim ever decided to expose Hollywood secrets or skeletons in certain closets, careers would be ruined, and that fear keeps Will constantly on edge.
Years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the track, to distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy. And
Carrey never hesitates, calling Hollywood out for being spineless and suggesting they've lost their edge. It would appear that the actor saw that action as confirming earlier suspicions that Will Smith's rise might be because of things he had done to get there, and that is likely why he is still being protected. If not for that protection, Carrey thinks Smith should have been booted out of the Oscars then and there for his slap-happy moment.
You do not have the right to walk up on stage and smack somebody in the face because they said words.
Then King pointed out that Chris Rock chose not to involve the authorities in the matter, but Carrey asserted that this decision was solely because the comedian preferred to avoid the trouble.
He doesn't want the hassle. I'd have announced this morning that I was suing Will for $200 million because that video is going to be there forever. It's going to be ubiquitous.
Now, the question on many people's lips after that was, could this trouble be with Will Smith's alleged protectors? For many people, the reasons behind Chris not filing the lawsuit against Will Smith is connected to the alleged power Will has to do anything he wants in Hollywood. Of course, the claim is that this power was gotten from performing certain activities that you definitely don't want to know about. For a long time, accusations kept flying that Will Smith indulged in certain rituals for power, including gay activities. We've all heard Jaguar Wright say it herself.
They're both bisexual, they do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship.
If it were only Jaguar Wright, maybe we can just say it's one of those claims. But as we could see from the clip at the beginning, even someone very close to Will Smith, his former assistant and friend Bilal, has come with even more damning details.
And I've saw sexual acts that I walked in on. Who'd you walk in on?
Him and Dwayne Martin.
Okay.
Hollywood is the hurry up and wait game.
But the drama doesn't stop there. Rumors also circulate that Will's connection with Dwayne Martin might have played a role in the divorce of Tisha Campbell and Dwayne. YouTube sensation Trisha Paytas also decided to add her 2 cents, accusing Will Smith of allegedly making her male dancers do more than just dance. According to Trisha, these dancers found themselves in some seriously uncomfortable situations against their will. Now let's rewind to 2016. The late actress Alexis Arquette claimed that Will Smith's ex-wife, Cherie Zampino, divorced him because she caught Will in bed with another man. According to Daily Mail, Arquette spilled the tea in a now-deleted Facebook post, hinting that Jada Pinkett Smith might have a story of her own to tell. In the words of Alexis, when Jada comes out as gay and her beard husband admits his first marriage ended when she walked into him servicing his sugar daddy, Benny Medina, then I will listen to them. And let's not forget about Will's bromance with Diddy. It was even Diddy who that swooped to save the day at the 2022 Academy Awards. He tried to cool things down and make it seem all chill.
And Chris, we're gonna solve that like family at the gold party, okay? But right now we're moving on with love. Everybody make some noise.
Rumor has it that YK Osiris and Bryshere Gray, the actor from Empire, might be caught up in something beyond just friendship. There are whispers of secrets, shady deals, and wild parties involving big names like Diddy and Will Smith. If that doesn't grab your attention, hang tight because the details get even crazier. Let's start with Bryshere Gray, who played Hakeem on Empire. Back when Empire was huge, everyone was talking about his acting and rapping talent. But then, almost out of nowhere, he disappeared from the spotlight. And this wasn't just a career shift or him deciding to step back. Word on the street is that he didn't exactly leave by choice. It's more like he was pushed out by some powerful figures in Hollywood. And guess who the rumors are pointing to? None other than Will Smith and Diddy. So, what would make 2 major Hollywood players want to ice out Bryshere? Well, the story goes that he didn't want to take part in what's being called freaky parties anymore. Allegedly, he got pulled into exclusive gatherings that were supposed to help his career, but had some wild, eyebrow-raising elements. After a while, Bryshere reportedly wanted to walk away from that scene. Apparently, his decision didn't sit well with the higher-ups, and he was swiftly blacklisted in Hollywood, bringing his career to a screeching halt. It sounds like a messy situation, right? To understand how Bryshere got mixed up in all this, let's rewind a bit. When he was a teenager, he met Charlie Mack, a major talent manager who saw Bryshere's potential and set him up with an audition for Empire. Bryshere nailed it, landed the role, and was on his way to stardom. Through Charlie, Bryshere was introduced to some big names, including Will Smith. Everyone thought it was a golden opportunity for him to have someone as big as Will mentoring him. But as they say, not everything that glitters is gold. As Bryshere got closer to Will and even Diddy, they allegedly pulled him into their inner circle with promises of making him an even bigger star if he joined their wild lifestyle. But after attending a few of these events, Bryshere reportedly decided he didn't want to be involved anymore. And that's when things went south. The word is that when he tried to pull away, he was blacklisted, with influential people in the industry supposedly making sure he wouldn't get any more work. If that sounds familiar, it's probably because Cassie once hinted that Diddy tried to damage her career when she tried to leave him. It seems like Bryshere might have faced the same treatment, but Bryshere isn't the only one caught up in rumors surrounding Diddy's world. Enter YK Osiris, the singer who broke out in 2018 with his song Valentine. He was riding high, signed to Def Jam, and seemed destined for stardom. But after a few years, things started to go south. His album didn't do as well as expected, and by 2022, he was dropped by his label. Somehow, though, he managed to stay in the limelight. And how did he do that? By getting close to Diddy. People started noticing that YK Osiris was hanging out with Diddy a lot, showing up on his social media, going on vacations together, and even sharing moments that seemed more than just friendly. Fans began to suspect that there might be more than a mentorship going on. One of the photos that raised eyebrows was of Osiris and Diddy getting a couple's massage by the ocean during one of their trips. That's not exactly the usual thing you see between two friends. And Diddy wasn't just giving Osiris some mentorship tips, he was apparently covering the costs of their luxury outings. A few months before, Osiris admitted he was broke and had even sold his cars to make ends meet. Suddenly, he was living it up on lavish trips, seemingly on Diddy's dime. This led fans to wonder if Diddy was funding YK's lifestyle for reasons beyond friendship. Then, things got even spicier when YK's ex-girlfriend claimed she ended things with him because she allegedly caught him in bed with a man. Naturally, people started connecting dots, with Diddy's name coming up as the likely other party. Adding to the mystery, Osiris himself has hinted that things weren't quite right. In October 2022, he went live on Instagram and opened up about feeling alone in the industry. He even hinted that he was struggling mentally, which some fans thought was related to his stalled career. But he later posted again, calling out the music industry and suggesting that people don't really know what goes on behind closed doors. With these kinds of stories swirling, fans are left wondering if there's truth to the rumors or if this is just Hollywood gossip. Either way, it paints a picture of an industry where sometimes fame comes with a dark side and where powerful people might use their influence to control others. For Bryshear and Osiris, it seems like their experiences with Diddy and Will Smith may have involved more than they signed up for. It's a wild scene that makes you question how far people are willing to go for fame and what really goes on behind the glitz and glamour. With big names and strange parties, these two young stars seem to be caught in something they might have never anticipated. And while the truth behind these rumors remains unclear, it's enough to make anyone curious about what really goes on in Hollywood's shadows. Anyway, as for Eddie Murphy's revelations, it seems they might have put him in an awkward position with the industry, and word on the street is that he might get blackballed from Hollywood. Eddie Murphy recently dropped a major truth bomb about how the industry has treated black actors over the years. He pointed out that Hollywood has intentionally created rifts among black performers, choosing to stir up drama instead of fostering unity. Murphy hinted at some sneaky tactics that have been used to keep this division alive, mentioning some behind-the-scenes actions that have contributed to this harmful separation. His remarks highlight a troubling reality. Instead of coming together, black actors often find themselves pitted against each other. Murphy believes that these negative dynamics have become so ingrained that they're affecting the next generation of black actors, making it even tougher for the community to stand strong together.
One's born, I ain't say shit. I mean, I ain't, huh? What sucks? Reaganomics sucks? Or tell us something we don't know.
Imagine Eddie Murphy teaming up with Jordan Peele for a new project, or Jamie Foxx and Denzel Washington starting their own production company together. It's kind of wild, though, that we've never really seen Eddie and Spike Lee work together throughout their careers. Both of these guys are big names in Hollywood, and it seems like a lot of influential black creatives today are in the same boat. They're holding back from collaborating because they worry that if they team up, Hollywood might mess with the successes they've built on their own.
To make it, you gotta bust your black ass. You gotta be relentless. You gotta persevere. You gotta be focused.
There are all sorts of theories out there suggesting that Eddie Murphy has been in over 50 movies in just 5 years, yet only a handful of them feature a black director. This kind of highlights the tricky dynamics in the industry and might shed some light on why Spike Lee and Tyler Perry haven't worked on a project together. You can see a similar vibe with Will Smith and Denzel Washington, who also haven't teamed up for a bunch of films. Kind of like how Al Pacino and Robert De Niro have done.
It was wise. Especially that we are meeting kind of for the first time. That's important. So yeah, that does help.
The reason Spike Lee and Eddie Murphy haven't collaborated seems to go a lot deeper. Right now, there's a growing global awareness about the vulnerability of black lives, thanks to systemic issues that have led to some pretty troubling outcomes. With the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement, more and more people are starting to see the need for real change, and a big part of that is empowering economic influence. It's all about making a difference and using their platforms for something greater.
The president of the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce says more businesses are seeking her help.
This growing awareness has sparked a strong push to support Black-owned businesses, which helps keep wealth circulating within the Black community. While this emphasis is new, the idea itself isn't exactly groundbreaking. In his book, Power Dynamics, Dr. Claude Anderson talks about the importance of looking at how Black Americans spend their money. At the end of the day, the message is clear. It's crucial to keep Black funds under Black control.
Black folk fail to understand that schools are not change agents. They're only doing what the environment wants it to do. Schools in this country, starting in the 1860s, were designed to...
This leads us to Spike Lee's emergence in the early 1980s as he embarked on crafting his own identity in the industry. During this time, he openly criticized not only Eddie Murphy, but also other Black individuals within Hollywood for failing to establish pathways for others akin to themselves. In a 1989 interview with the Rolling Stone, Murphy offered his response to these allegations. Spike Lee had expressed his belief that Murphy might have overlooked using his clout to advance the presence of Black individuals in influential roles, particularly within Paramount.
Don't you think I realize what's going on here, miss? Who do you think I am, huh? Don't you think I know that if I was some hotshot from out of town that pulled inside here?
He further said, "They were shitty to me on Saturday Night Live a couple of times after I'd left the show. They said some shitty things. I made a stink about it. It became part of the folklore. What really irritated me about it at the time was that it was a career shot. I felt shitty about it for years, but now I don't have none of that." Eddie Murphy and Spike Lee seem to adopt distinct approaches in addressing racism within Hollywood. Interestingly, during the production of Do the Right Thing, there were instances of Murphy visiting Lee on set. However, in a 1989 appearance on the Arsenio Hall show, Murphy playfully extended their friendly rivalry by humorously referring to Lee as a cricket, adding another layer to their dynamic.
I love Spike Lee. I seen Spike come on the show last week, and women said, "Wah!" And Spike looks like a cricket.
A year later, the two men engaged in a direct conversation regarding their respective stances. Their viewpoints seemed to align with the different approaches of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. In a one-on-one interview featured in Spin magazine, Lee and Murphy delved into their ongoing feud. Lee expressed the notion that Eddie Murphy had the potential to exert greater influence toward change.
He's a brilliant filmmaker. His movies are brilliant. He's hysterical. He's wonderful on camera. But Spike is not fine.
During the middle of the interview, Murphy openly shared his candid perspective on why he believed there was a lack of collaboration among Black individuals in Hollywood.
Because I think Black people aren't the most unified people on the face of the earth. We gotta get everybody's schedule together.
Everybody says it's cool, but that shit doesn't ever come.
In a contemplative manner, Murphy pointed out the existence of various groups within the community. He remarked on the apparent division prevalent among people of the same race, highlighting that historically, this division was imposed rather than inherent. Referencing the era of slavery, he alluded to instances where united groups of slaves were purposely disbanded. Fast forwarding to the present, Murphy noted that when a Black individual achieves success, there's often a tendency to isolate oneself and claim ownership of accomplishments. He attributed this hesitancy to unite to an underlying fear of jeopardizing personal equilibrium in the pursuit of collective collaboration.
We got that hooked. We got all hooked up for Black people. Chinese people all around because they got little and little.
Murphy emphasized that this inherent division isn't a conscious choice, but rather ingrained. He underscored that this fearfulness was a product of the apprehension white individuals have towards Black individuals. Recounting a personal encounter, he shared an incident involving Mike Tyson. During a gathering at Eddie Murphy Productions, Murphy found himself in the company of Mike Tyson and Don King.
Stay tuned for more of the Sammy Davis Jr. tribute honoring the one heavyweight I would never dare step into the ring with.
Reflecting on his workplace, where his managers were the only white employees, the trio delved into a discussion about white people and government matters. Strikingly, the conversation took a whispered tone, a phenomenon Murphy attributed to the deep-seated apprehension that the influence of the white man had instilled, leading even to discreet discussions within one's own abode.
They doing it up the way they walk. They be walking all light because they ain't got no pulling them down.
The long-awaited classic interview finally gave both Spike Lee and Eddie Murphy a chance to clear up the misunderstandings between them, but it took over a decade for any signs of a possible collaboration to surface. During that time, Spike landed a role in a James Brown biopic and even thought about bringing Eddie on board. Unfortunately, Spike's time with the project was cut short when director Tate Taylor stepped in to take over.
So up his balance, he be doing all this.
Fast forward to 2014, when Chadwick Boseman ended up taking the lead role in the movie instead of Eddie Murphy. Even though we still haven't seen a film collaboration between Murphy and Spike Lee, the talks have kept popping up. Back in 2011, there were reports that Murphy was set to play former DC Mayor Marion Barry in a biopic directed by Spike for HBO. but Spike ultimately changed his mind and didn't go with Murphy for the role. It's interesting to note that Murphy has previously pointed out the unique challenges Black folks face in Hollywood, which has fueled efforts to create a more authentic Black Hollywood scene.
Every time you see a brother in a wheelchair, he ain't always crippled. You got this hanging down.
Back in 1988, Paul Mooney wrote an article in the Los Angeles Times that revealed Eddie Murphy, Robert Townsend, Keenan Ivory Wayans, and Arsenio Hall's effort to come together as the Black Pack. The reasons behind the collapse of this initiative aren't entirely clear, but Murphy's chat with Spike in Spin magazine shed some light on why they might not have been able to make it work. With protests happening in the streets today, it's a perfect time to think about how those messages could transition into filmmaking. It raises some important questions about how to tackle racism on screen. Should it be done in a subtle way, or should filmmakers go all out and make their voices heard?
Well, they did have some skills. They were still enslaved.
However, Eddie's fans have supported him with every possible power. One of them wrote, "Blacklist Eddie Murphy? He is comedy. Without him, Hollywood would have been dead long ago without those movies he made." Another one added, "Eddie Murphy is still my favorite comedian. Besides Richard Pryor, very talented guy, and Dave is a close third. Oh, and don't let me forget George Carlin Dott. That man was a genius." Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.